we've talked a lot so far about what does it mean to be an engineer. What do engineers do? What's the philosophy of engineering? What's a little bit about what's the strategy of engineering, right? To invent something that works, that people need, that you can sell, that the government will fund, something like that. Okay. Scene chapter. Okay, so we talked a lot so far about engineering. What is the engineering profession? What does it mean? And we talked some more about history, quite a bit actually. Right? In the old days, engineers were whoever they said they were. Now there's a more precise legal definition with accreditation. We talked about accreditation. We talked about getting a degree. Right? In some places now you must have a degree to call yourself an engineer. So today I'm going to continue with that theme and talk about these so-called professional societies. Professional societies are very common. Most of them have the property that they restrict the membership to somebody who's in the profession. So there could be a professional society for a doctor, for a lawyer, chemistry, whatever. There's a lot of them for engineers, a lot of different professional societies. ABET, if I'm not mistaken, ABET has 17 societies that contribute to ABET. Remember, ABET in the United States, the system is not the same everywhere. In the United States, it's a private system. It's not part of the government. Who makes it up? 17 engineering professional societies all joining together to make the ABET standard. Okay? So one of those societies is called the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. And it's the biggest society of mechanical engineers in the USA. I don't know if it's the biggest in the world. I don't know. But it has 120,000 members. Even though it's called American Society of Mechanical Engineers, the members come from 150 different countries, including Vietnam. Okay, so you're eligible to join if you'd like. There are 20,000 student members. And for a student membership due, the normal dues are $25 US, but there's a discounted price in some places. Vietnam is one of those places. And the discounted price is half, 50%. So if you're interested in joining, you can join for $12.50. I'm not here to sell ABET. It's up to you whether you join or not. However, I am a little bit curious, just personally curious, so let me just ask. Does anybody think they might be interested in joining? Or not interested?
So what did we get from American Society?
That's a great question, right? Yeah. Why should you join? What do you get? On the web page, maybe we can put the projector on. Sorry to bother you, but on the web page, there's a link that's called Student Membership Benefits. So I won't try to say all of them myself. I probably wouldn't remember them all. But if you can read, there's a description of the benefits that you get. Okay? Most of the campuses in the United States where they teach mechanical engineering, including at University of Buffalo, where I come from, most of them have a student chapter. So not just individual students like you that joined, but actually there's a whole club. It's an official club, an official chapter of ASME. And ASME sponsors a lot of student activities, including a lot of competitions that are a lot of fun. So for instance, maybe you build a car on your campus, and the other campuses, they all build a car. And then once per year you come together and you have car races, right? See who does the best. I think, I don't know what all the competitions are, so I don't want to say. I might be confusing it because there are other professional societies. They all have some competitions. So I might say one that I think comes from ASME, but it comes from a different society, so I don't want to say falsely. Now that I brought that up, though, let me just mention another society that a lot of mechanical engineering students join is called Society of Automotive Engineers. SAE. And SAE sponsors a lot of student competitions. So there's Formula Car, there's Super Mileage, I'm trying to think of the name. It's like a dune buggy, but I'll call it off-road. Snowmobile. There's probably others I'm not thinking of. I think there's more. Okay. Super mileage. The competition is how far can the car go on 1 liter of gas? And what do you think is a record for student car? The student builds the car, right? The student club builds the car. Then you go to a track somewhere. All the other universities come. There's a contest. Everybody gets 1 liter. Whose car can go the farthest? What do you think the record is? Yeah, it actually, he said 1,000 kilometers. I'm not sure it's 1,000, but it's a lot. It's at least 500 or 800 kilometers. Maybe it's 1,000. I don't know. I don't know the right answer. So maybe 1,000 kilometers on 1 liter. Good. Okay. Of course, there has to be a rule about speed. So you're required to maintain, the car must have a minimum average speed. Because if it goes really slow, and it goes 1,000 kilometers, yeah. There's also, I think, SAE sponsors Human Powered vehicles. Usually this looks like a bicycle, but very, very low to the ground. It has an aerodynamic cowl on it, right, like a bubble. The fairing. The human-powered vehicle competition. Formula, everybody knows what Formula is. Okay, do you know what a snowmobile? You know this vehicle, snowmobiles?
Go on the snow. They have like a track.
Yeah. It's sort of like a motorcycle, but the shape is more like a motorcycle than a car. But it goes on snow. But it doesn't fall over as easily as a motorcycle. It has usually 2 sleds in the front, 2 skis, and in the back it has a tractor. You know, a wide tread like that, and the tread goes around and around and around the cushion. Buffalo is in the north part of America. In the wintertime, there's a lot of snow. A lot of snow. So snowmobiles are very common. You just ride it around like a motorcycle. Okay, Buffalo, the University of Buffalo is very good at this competition. Very successful. Okay, another society that a lot of mechanical engineers join. It doesn't sound like it, but it's the American Institute. It's a strange word. Aeronautics and Astronautics. AIAA. So if you go to a mechanical engineering department in the United States at a big university like Buffalo or MIT or Purdue or Michigan or Texas, you'll find all three of these clubs will be on campus, and some students will belong to all three. So this is a little bit of a funny word, institute, because it's not really an institute, it's a society. American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics. What's the difference between aeronautics and astronautics?
Aeronautics is something that fly in the atmosphere. Astronautics is outside.
That's right. Say it again. Yeah, in the atmosphere. That's right. Yeah, okay. Higher? Oh, okay. He said he took off the plug. Okay, any questions about these societies? They all have student members. Okay, so back to the question, what's the advantage? With each of these societies, if you become a member, you get a basic magazine that usually comes out at least one time per month, and it's about the profession. Okay, so a basic membership magazine will have general stories about the profession, general stories about mechanical engineering, aeronautics and astronautics, automotive engineering. And by the way, why would mechanical engineers be a member of AIAA? What kind of mechanical engineering would go into aeronautics or astronautics?
Mechanical.
Yeah. What kinds of mechanical engineering goes into AIAA? Yeah, almost all kinds, right? I mean, an airplane has everything. It has thermal systems, it has structures, it has control systems, it has aerodynamics, it has fuel, it has pumps, it has electricity, it has combustion, it has things that spin around, turbine. That's a big thing in mechanical engineering, is a turbine. A lot of turbines aren't on airplanes, right? They're in a factory or some other place. Turbines are very big in mechanical engineering. It has pressure vessels, very big in mechanical engineering, right? Some shape, some vessel that must hold pressure. Very, very important. Every factory has a lot of them. So do airplanes. So airplanes are full of mechanical engineering. So it makes sense, right? How about automotive engineering? Same idea. Car is full of mechanical engineering. Materials, electricity, fuel, combustion, engines that spin around, machinery. You got to manufacture it. In the case of an airplane, you may not manufacture too many, maybe just a few dozen or a few hundred. But for cars, millions. You want to manufacture millions. It's very important that the manufacturing be good. Otherwise, people won't buy it.
I am just out over there.
Okay, so
Outside.
what should we take it off?
Yeah. Rather loud.
Broadcasting all over. Okay, so Okay, so one thing that happens with all of these societies is they publish a general magazine. Just a general magazine. Every member gets it. This one is called Mechanical Engineering. AIAA publishes one called Aerospace Engineering. SAE publishes one called Automotive Engineering. So if you become a member, you'll get that magazine. The magazine includes general articles about the profession, about mechanical engineering or aero or whatever. It also has things like classified ads in the back, which are advertisements usually for jobs. So if you're a mechanical engineer and you're looking for a job, there will be a lot of advertisements in the back from companies that want to hire you. Okay? Sometimes there's an ad from people that are looking for a job. Here's my skills, please hire me. Sometimes there's advertisements for contracts, for bids. What's called a bid, or RFP. A very common thing to happen in engineering inside the profession is that an organization that's going to build something needs to hire engineers, right, to produce the design, maybe also to manage the whole project. So they put out what's often called an RFP, a request for proposal. So here's the idea. Let's say I'm the government of Taiwan. I decide I want to build a new road. So now I publish an advertisement, and I say, I plan to build a new road. If you would like to be the person that actually builds it, I'm going to hire the work. I won't do it myself. I'll hire a company to build the road for me. So all companies are now eligible. Please send me a bid. What will you charge me to build a road? Send me your plan. How will you do it? What will it be made out of? What's the quality control? All the information I want to know if I'm buying it. So I write that as a request for proposal. And then, if you're the company, you respond with a bid. So that will also appear in Mechanical Engineering Magazine. And sometimes it's just the engineering part, right? I want to build a road from Tai Nguyen to north to the border of China. A new highway, brand new highway. It has to go up and over the mountains. I need engineers to design this. If you want that job, tell me how you will do it and how much it will cost. That's a proposal. Okay? I think we'll talk some more about proposals maybe a little bit later in this course. And maybe I'll have you write me a proposal. Okay? Because, for instance, one of the exercises you did for your first homework, you wrote down the 10 inventions that mimic nature, 10 inventions that don't mimic nature, right? So maybe you have an idea of something that you would really like to build. And we talked a little bit about how the problem with a lot of new inventions is it requires money to start it. So you have to have either a big business or government or somebody like that is willing to pay for it. It's hard for one person to have enough money to start a new company. But let's pretend that I've got money. Okay, I'm an investor. I'd like to get rich, and I want you to get rich to make me rich. But you have to have a good idea, something you can convince me that you can make it, that you can be successful, that humans want it, right? Either they need it or they want it. So your idea could be something maybe really obvious that everybody can use, like a water filter, or something not so obvious like the next mobile phone. But you have that good idea, you can propose to me. If I give you a certain amount of money, you have to say what it is. And you can do this and this and this. And at the end, it'll be successful. That's a proposal. Okay? Alright, so that's another thing that these magazines will have in them, for those kinds of things. Sometimes they just have just an advertisement from a company that uses a lot of engineers and is very successful, and they just want to have an advertisement so everybody knows about it. Like, say, Boeing. Boeing is very proud to announce that last year we built 500 new airplanes. Thank you to the 50,000 engineers that work at Boeing. Okay, any questions about that? So they all have a general magazine. Then they all have very specialized articles. They're at a very high level, very advanced level. They usually describe some new research, some new experiment, maybe some new theory. In some narrow field. Okay? Now, the reason why I'm mentioning the journals now is I think it's a good way for you to have a better understanding, maybe, of what the specializations are within mechanical engineering. If you look at the names of the journals that mechanical engineering publishes. So I think we'll do that in just a minute. I hope we're going to do that in just a minute. But before I load that page up, let me ask you this. How many specializations, each specialized journal, how many of these would you guess there might be in mechanical engineering? Just mechanical engineering. So we listed some specializations the other day. We talked about machinery. We talked about manufacturing. Thermal science, right? That's heat. Heat going two ways, right? Today we want heat to go out of this room, but some days we want heat to come into the room. Heat is a big part of mechanical engineering, moving heat around. Almost all manufacturing, at some place there's too much heat. Almost always, that's a problem. Also with electronics, right? It's always a problem with electronics, too much heat. It's a problem inside of a car engine or a motorcycle. If the cooling system doesn't work in the car or the motorcycle, you're in trouble. It ruins it. So heat transfer is always a big issue with mechanical engineering. So machinery, manufacturing, heat. What else? Well, technology is a general word, right? I'm trying to be more specific. Technology for what? Materials should be something, right? Materials are very important. Fluids. Did you say fluids? Yeah, fluids, right? Mechanical engineering is very big on fluids. A big part of mechanical engineering is to pump something around. Whether it's fuel, water, sewage, whatever it is. Inside of a giant factory, there's all kinds of liquid going everywhere, different chemicals. Pumps are very big, right? I mentioned pressure vessels. Pressure vessels are very important in mechanical engineering. Lots of storage tanks. Always in mechanical engineering. Metal. Manufacturing. Machining. Okay, well, ASME publishes 27 different journals. 27. Okay? And some of them have more than one word in the name. There's more than one thing in them. It's a combination. So it gives some idea of what the professional engineers, the way that they see the field of mechanical engineering broken up into smaller specializations. The journals are very, very helpful for you to understand what the specializations are. So let's look at the list together. By the way, the homepage of this is www.asme.org. What kind of what does ORG stand for? Organization. Okay. And a special kind of organization. What kind? Non-profit. Oh, to get ORG, you must be non-profit. So officially, this is a non-profit. Now, they collect dues. They have 120,000 members. They collect the dues. For a professional like me, the dues, I think, $150. So 150 times 120,000 is a nice big pot of money. So they have a professional staff. They pay salaries to people. But in the end, there's no profit. Nobody makes money. They just get the wage for the work they do. What happened over here? Nothing. Is it online? Sorry, Alex. I'm trying to. You've already got this. You never did get the rest. That's something else. What happened? You're supposed to get 2 more pages. Do that. Do all these. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go through with you. You can go back and read more about this. This is copied right off the webpage. Some of the journals. Okay, so this is in alphabetical order. The first one is called Applied Mechanics Reviews. Okay, Applied Mechanics Reviews. What is mechanics?
Deal with machineries. Mechanics deal with machinery.
It's not a mechanic. When you use the word mechanic to talk about a person, it's usually a guy that fixes a machine, especially a car, or maybe a ship, or a bus, or an airplane. So if you're talking about a guy that works, a mechanic is usually a guy that fixes a machine. But in mechanical engineering, mechanics means something quite different. Okay. What does mechanics mean? It means basically the same thing as physics, but the part of the physics that goes with things that are solid or fluid, not so much electricity or chemical. So for instance, you're taking EAS 208 right now. That's a mechanics course. Right? It's about motion. It's about F equals ma in motion. You took EAS 207, that's statics. That's a mechanics course. Those are mechanics courses. Okay? Knowing more and more about dynamics and fluids is very, very important. So there's a whole part of the ASME that's devoted to mechanics and applied mechanics. So knowing about gravity, for instance, is good physics knowledge. But don't forget, what do engineers do? In the end, what are we trying to do? Create a new world, right? So we want to take mechanics that we know about and turn it into some application. So that's applied mechanics. Now there's one more important word up here. What does the word review mean when you're reading the literature? By the way, let me just back up for a minute and explain the hierarchy of timetable of how new knowledge becomes